Hi, my name is Kelsey Gustafson, and today I'm going to be talking about my Chapter 6 discussion board, which was over the topic of placing old age limits on driving privileges. So I'm going to start off by saying that this topic has been addressed before in my family, and it will certainly have to be addressed in the future as well. For example, my great-grandmother was around the age of 90 years old whenever my family decided that it was time for her to retire her keys and her license, and the main reason that we did this was because her eyesight was beginning to fail and her vision was getting very bad. We were beginning to feel unsafe riding in the car with her whenever she was driving, and we didn't want something dangerous to happen to her or to someone else. And additionally, my other great-grandmother is 88 years old, and she is actually the caretaker of her disabled son, which kind of makes the whole situation a little bit more complicated. She does not live close to much family and friends, and if her license were revoked simply due to her age, then she would have to completely change not only her life but also her son's life as well, because she would no longer be able to go get groceries, go get fast food if she didn't feel like cooking, and she would not be able to go to doctor's appointments or take her son to doctor's appointments. Everything would have to be changed. And I know that most of us are familiar with situations like this, either with our family or hearing about it for other people's families. And a lot of people think that there should just be a set age limit where driving privileges should be revoked once someone reaches a certain age. Then it's just an automatic thing. They're no longer allowed to drive, and let that be it. However, I think that it's a little bit more of a sensitive issue than that. We can't just place this a restriction on it and expect everything to be okay. That's just not how it's going to work, because driving gives older individuals a sense of independence. It gives anyone a sense of independence, but especially older individuals who have to sacrifice little bits and pieces of their independence as they age. And this was the biggest issue for my great grandmother whenever we made her put away her keys and give away her license. It was because she felt as if she were giving away her last little bit of independence. And also, you can't base someone's skill level simply based on their age, because one person's skill level at a certain age may be better than another person's. It differs because each scenario is unique and different. And this is such an issue that is prevalent for many different reasons, and I'm going to go ahead and explain. And the reason that this is an issue and why we do have to think about factors, should there be a set age limit on driving privileges and so forth, is because as we age, there are things that happen that affect our abilities to drive. So, for example, the first one that most of us think of is our vision, and that, of course, decreases as we age, and it makes it a little bit unsafe to drive. And also, our hearing can affect how we drive as well, and that is something that I don't think a lot of people kind of take into consideration. And also, our speed of processing as well as our reaction time also decreases, and this affects how quickly elderly drivers can process incoming information and how quickly they're able to respond to that information. So, for example, if another car pulls out in front of the vehicle of an elderly person that's driving, it is going to take the elderly driver a longer period of time to process what exactly is happening and what their reaction should be. So, in addition, inhibitory loss also occurs as we age, and this means that elderly drivers are not able to divide their thoughts and their attention appropriately. So, therefore, they will be more prone to becoming easily distracted by things like other vehicles, pedestrians, or objects on the side of the road. Also, elderly drivers find it more difficult to perform multiple tasks at once due to their inhibitory loss, and this becomes an issue whenever elderly drivers are trying to drive and focus on the road, but they're also adjusting the air conditioner, the radio, or adjusting their mirrors. And even as no matter what age we are, whenever we're doing multiple things at once while driving, that instantly becomes more dangerous. But whenever you're an elderly individual, that really increases the risk of a potential accident occurring. And these are just a few things, obviously, that can affect the driving skills and the safety of elderly drivers, which is why I believe that there needs to be yearly screening conducted for elderly drivers starting around the age of 65. And I think that this screening should consider eyesight, hearing, information processing, and reaction time, and how much inhibitory loss the individual has. So by doing yearly screenings, I believe, there will not be such a high risk of people on the road, elderly drivers that are not needing to be on the road because it's unsafe for them to be on the road. And I also think that every 2 to 3 years there should also be a driving test conducted with an actual driving instructor. And I think that it would also be good to implement something, whereas, for example, if the elderly individual does not do as well as they hoped on their driver's test, that they should be able to receive tips or a lesson or practice with a driving instructor on how they can improve their driving skills. Then in about a month, they should be given the opportunity to retake the test and see if they did improve. And if they didn't, then that's whenever it's time to decide the next step. But I only think that that option, of course, should be given to individuals that only have to improve in just a few little sections of their driving, and it's not dangerous for them to be out on the road in the meantime while they're practicing those skills. And I think that by implementing these few laws or just ideas that I discussed, I think that it will decrease the amount of elderly drivers on the road that are not equipped to be driving and that are not properly prepared to be driving out on the roads. And I know that this is a sensitive issue because I have experienced how much it affects a person and how much it would affect a person just based on my 2 great-grandmas. And this is a sensitive issue that we kind of have to, we often teeter-totter around it, but we do have to eventually address it. And ultimately, we just want the roads to be safe for our loved ones, the elderly individuals, and also for the other individuals that are driving on the roads. So once again, my name is Kelsey Gustafson, and this is my discussion board on Chapter 6. So thank you for listening. Bye.